Hi everybody, I'm so glad that you are here in this webinar with me, and since I know that everybody's time is the most precious asset these days, I'm not going to waste much of your time and we'll jump into our program directly. First, I'm going to talk to you about the self-preserving process and what does it mean, and then how we can self-preserve cosmetics. What is the advantage, or what are the advantages from a consumer point of view? What are the advantages for a formulator or manufacturer? And then I'm going to unapologetically jump into our new course, which is self-preserving masks. For those of you who are new here, I am Elham, the founder and chemist of Skin Chakra. You know us perhaps as a supplier of raw material or from one of our social media accounts, or from our blog, in which we share with you tips about cosmetic formulations and how you can prepare safe, stable, compliant and effective cosmetic products. So what is self-preserving? Self-preserving is a concept that has its roots from food industry since 1970s, and now it has merged into the cosmetic industry and cosmetic formulations. In simple words, it means protecting the product against contamination, increasing the shelf life of the product, and protecting the consumer against consequences of a contamination without using any chemical preservatives. So this concept comes to the cosmetic formulations as well, but let's see first why cosmetics become contaminated at the first place. It is not a rarity or an exception. Basically, cosmetics should be safe and uncontaminated, but even with established brands, you see that they have every now and then a product recall that something is contaminated, and they have to recall the product from the market. This photo, for example, is a market purchased product. It is not a homemade product or a laboratory made product. It is something that I have purchased from the market. So the cosmetics, most of the cosmetics that we are using these days contain water, lots of water, have a suitable pH for growth of contaminants, have enough nutrients, and have raw materials that they themselves contain microorganisms. So all of these factors together prepare a wonderful medium for growth and increase of microorganisms. Keep in mind that cosmetics are not sterile. They shouldn't be sterile. They are not pharmacological products. They are not pharmaceuticals or surgical products. So nobody expects that cosmetics are sterile. It is just undoable, both from a technical point of view and from a financial and commercial technical point of view. The same is for our raw materials or our manufacturing process. We do not manufacture under sterile conditions, and the raw materials that we use, none of them are sterile. Some of these raw materials already have a potential for growth of microorganisms, and these are clays and minerals, plant extracts, plant oils, and food powders. As you can see, these are specifically ingredients that are often used in natural cosmetics, or more used in natural cosmetics compared to conventional cosmetics. Some of these ingredients, specifically powders, are being sterilized these days. They are either sterilized by gamma radiation or by thermal treatment, such as clays, minerals, and fruit powders. But it is no way to sterilize plant extracts or plant oils, and when you receive them, they already contain a small load of contaminants. As I mentioned before, cosmetics are not sterile and nobody expects them to be sterile. They contain some microorganisms, but basically for safe cosmetics, they should be free of pathogenic microorganisms, and the number of non-pathogenic microorganisms should be very, very limited. So this is the pre-requirement for cosmetics that are on the market all over the world, no matter where you are producing or selling your products. The preservatives are ingredients that are added to the cosmetics to protect the product against contamination, so they don't allow those existing bacteria or microorganisms to grow and to increase their number. They protect the consumer against contamination or consequences of the contamination or byproducts of the contamination, and they are there to increase the shelf life. So a cosmetic product that is usually, let's say, good for about 1 week without a suitable preservative, it should have a shelf life of somehow 2-3 years, for conventional products up to 5 years when a good preservative system is used in the product. So now we are aiming for self-preserving cosmetics. This means not to use any preservative to protect the product against contamination, but we want to use the mechanisms that are used in the food industry and to self-preserve the cosmetics. So some of these methods are extreme pH, very low or very high pH, reducing the water activity in a product, sterilization, single dose packaging, pasteurization, and tyndalizing. So extreme pH is not used for everyday products. There are very little number of products that have a very low pH or a very high pH in cosmetics. They are hair dyes or now AHA exfoliants or AHA cleansers that they have a very low pH, and they usually do not need any preservative. Then you can reduce the water activity, which we will come to that. Sterilization, as I mentioned, but this is not feasible in cosmetic products, and this is something that is used in pharmaceuticals or surgical products. Single dose packaging is somehow still used in cosmetic products, but it is, as you know, it is an environmental sin and doesn't have any good image these days. It's very wasteful. And pasteurization and tyndalization are used in food industry and are not that much used in cosmetic industry. So as a conclusion, there are extreme pH and extreme pH, single dose packaging, and reducing the water activity that are used in cosmetic formulations for preparing preservative-free products. So what is the water activity? Water activity or activity of water, AW, is the partial water vapor pressure in a product divided by the water vapor pressure of pure water at the same temperature. It is a little bit complicating. It is a physical term and you don't really need to work with it or calculate it. There are instruments that can measure the water activity. If you have participated in any preservative course, you know that each microorganism needs a certain water activity for growth and to increase the number. For most bacteria, the minimum water activity that is required is 0.91, and for fungi, mold, and yeast, it is 0.6. So if the water activity is less than 0.6, practically the product is considered self-preserving because the water activity is lower than that which is required by microorganisms for growth. It doesn't mean that the product will be sterilized or free of contamination. It only means that those few numbers that are present in the product don't have any chance to increase their numbers and to grow and to make any problem. Water activity is not the same thing as water content. I bring you some examples from the food industry. For honey, for example, the water activity is 0.5, and honey usually has a water content between 15.5 to 18.6%. For bread, for example, depending on the type of the bread, the water activity varies between 0.7 to 0.94, and the water content is something between 22 to 35%. And you know that as per practice, that honey doesn't get contaminated as long as it is pure and you have not meddled with it. You can keep honey for years and years and nothing happens, but bread within a few days it molders and microorganisms easily grow on that. And the difference is actually the water activity. This water activity is a very important term in the food industry. It is not that much used in the cosmetic industry yet. For grains, cereals, nuts, noodles, everything that is packaged in dry form and without any preservative, they have to take care of the water activity, and it is one of the characteristics that is regularly and routinely measured. So coming back to our cosmetic industry, why is self-preserving so important for us, or what is the importance, or what are the advantages from a consumer's point of view? As you know, preservatives are not enjoying celebrity status in cosmetics, but from a consumer's point of view, we do not advocate fooling the customer or selling unsafe products or making unrealistic promises. But as long as you can create a safe product that doesn't contain any preservative, why not using this as a marketing point in your copies and in your sales program? We all aim for a sustainable growth, and sustainable growth requires permanent production of safe, stable, effective, and compliant products. So it's not about fooling the customer with unrealistic claims. It is about creating safe products and stable products that do not contain any preservative, because we are using other methods to protect the product against contamination. So from a manufacturer's or formulator's point of view, what are the advantages? Well, first is that you have much less hassle and a faster process in safety assessment when you are creating preservative-free and self-preserving products. You don't need any challenge testing. In most part of the world, some safety assessors act very subjectively. It is still possible that they require a challenge test, specifically when the product contains lots of plant extracts. So it is not a universal rule, but basically in most parts of the world you don't need any challenge testing. Since the product is self-preserved, you have a much faster production to sales process, because you are not going to run routine microbiological tests, and you have a much cheaper and faster quality control process. So these are all advantages from a manufacturer's point of view. The most important advantage of making self-preserving cosmetics from a manufacturer's point of view is that you can use and apply tricky ingredients that usually are not easy to use, and if you are using them, you have to apply very strong and very nasty preservatives such as phenoxyethanol in your formulation. These include honey, clays, fruit powders, minerals, and algae. And in self-preserving cosmetics, you can use these ingredients easily and with a clear conscience because there is no chance for microbial growth in those products. Now I'm going to jump to our new online course, which is the self-preserving masks. Why masks at the first place? Well, you know that masks are extremely popular these days, and if you have still any doubt, just go to the drugstore and look at the mask for home use and see how broad the shelves are and how packed the shelves are with different products. Home used masks or end consumer masks are so popular that at least in Germany, I'm not aware about other countries, but at least in Germany, even the retailers sell some mask making machines that you can put some fruit and vegetables together in the machine, and it creates kind of a paste for a mask that you can apply over your face. So it can prove how important and how popular home use masks are. So the popularity is mainly because of the time factor, that people do not need to necessarily go to a beautician to have an effective mask. If you are a beautician listening to this webinar, don't get angry with me if we have something for you as well. So even if people go regularly to a beautician, they can still apply some home used masks for end users at home in between going to the beautician. So the masks that are available on the market for home use, most of them are these single dose sachet, as I mentioned, because preserving them is very difficult. So they are sold in the single dose sachet, and as you know, it is an environmental sin and highly unpopular from an environmental point of view. So this is something that you can use in your marketing copy and sales copy. You're preparing masks in safe multiple use packages that they are much more environmental friendly than these single use sachets. With the popularity of the home used masks, there are lots of powder masks that the consumer has to blend with a tea or hydrosol or with the juice or kind of liquid at home. So this guarantees the safety of the mask, specifically if the mask contains clay or honey powder or tricky ingredients like that. But this is something very time consuming for the consumer, and to be honest, you can never get the right consistency with those masks. As a chemist, I have several powders at home that I use just once, and I'm unnerved and put it off because they are either runny as a baby's snot or they are hard like a cement, and they are not really convenient to use, to be honest. So perhaps if you have tried to use them yourself, or you are a beautician and make those masks in your studio, you know that it is not really convenient. So why not prepare and sell ready-to-use masks that do not need any blending, any measurement, do not create any mess, and they are still safe to use. The masks are self-preserving because of the formulation, which is the low water activity, and because of the packaging. So if you prepare them, create them in tubes or airless jars and airless bottles, the masks are self-preserving, and so you can even apply tricky ingredients such as clay or honey or aloe or fruit powders with a clear conscience, and you don't need any single dose packaging. The masks remains safe and free of contamination for a reasonable amount of time. Apart from that, these masks are self-emulsifying, so it means that when you add water to them and when you want to rinse them, they foam slightly, emulsify with water, and they are easily rinsed. So you don't need to rub them for a long time. You don't have any graininess, any peel-off effect, and a very pleasant after feel. These masks could be used both in beauty salons or at home. So obviously, if you are selling the mask to beauticians and to home users or to end consumers, you need different sales copies, but the base is the same. So if you are yourself a beautician and want to prepare these masks and apply them on your customers, you can prepare them in bigger packages for your own institute, and you can have them packed in smaller packages for your consumers so you can sell them, use them and sell them at the same time. I'm not sure if you are familiar with the home snacking term. Home snacking is a rather new term in cosmetics since the outbreak of COVID, and it came with the increasing number of those who home office. So with home officers, the number of people that first it was people who were forced to work from home, and second, the beauty salons were closed for a long period. So people started applying their beauty products, their homemade masks or the mask that they could purchase from the drugstore at home during the time that they were working. As long as you don't have any online video conference, you can apply the mask on your face and you can run your errands, you can work on your computer, you can read, you can watch the TV, or as you can see me here in this photo, this is our chocolate mask that I have applied before a video shooting. So with the consistency of these masks, these ready to use masks, that they are not too runny and they are not too hard, you can easily apply them on your face. You don't have to lie down for 15 minutes. If you have the time and luxury, then go ahead and do it. But today, less people have that time, and so if you can apply the mask over your skin and still run your errands or work in your home, then it is a plus point again for the sales. So this course is based on our Sapogel Q, and if you have followed our blog and tutorials, you know that we have been publishing at least 50 tutorials based on these ingredients. This is a completely natural blend containing of glycerin, water, quilaya extract, and saponaria officinalis extract. To prepare stable formulations, you need an overhead stirrer. So this is something that you need to consider before enrolling in the course. If you don't want to invest in a stirrer or don't have the budget at the moment, then you have to wait, because you can prepare very small samples, maximum 50 grams, with a beaker and a spatula. But when you are going to manufacture something, you need an overhead stirrer. You cannot use home mixers such as a hand stick blender or a stand mixer or Thermomix or a milk frother for these formulations. So in this program, we are going to show you to create 13 self-preserving unique masks that you can change and adapt to your own needs and your own concept. These are all cold process, which is actually a huge plus factor in these days with the increasing energy costs. You can prepare at least 13 products by keeping your inventory limited and using Sapogel as the main product, so you don't need to invest a huge amount in raw material, and these formulations are all stability tested. We have been working on these formulations for years and years. Formulation, and for each one of these 13 masks you will receive the complete formulation, the formulation sheet, the procedure, stability testing, which ingredients you can replace or swap if you don't want to, or if you want to add your personal touch, and the program consists of videos for the frame formulations. The course starts on November 8th. It is a 6-week program that you can proceed at your own pace. This means we are going to release the lessons and the modules in a weekly basis, but you can proceed as you like. You will have lifelong access to the course material. You have 1 year support in a private Facebook group, and in these 6 weeks we will have 2 live video Q&As. This program enables you to create the mask one by one, then add your personal touch and make it your signature formulation if you want to swap some ingredients or add some local specialty ingredients. How to test the stability of the mask. Then you need to get safety assessed for each formulation, and then you can go and sell these masks like a champion. Are you ready to jump into this program with me? Say yes, because you are going to create safe, stable, and fun formulations that you can sell both to end users and beauty salons. These are unique masks. So let's see how you are going to proceed. As I mentioned, you can proceed at your own pace. So if you don't have the time or you want to move on slower, you can certainly move on slowly. But this is how we are going to release the lessons and the modules. Week 1 contains lots of theory, how Sapogel formulations work, what you should avoid, how something can go wrong, and then it contains the frame formulations with the videos and a complete lesson about the oil polarity, because the polarity of the oil plays a very important role in the appearance, optic, and stability of these products. In week 2, we are going to have a live Q&A so that you can ask the questions that come to your mind by going through the theory part and preparing those fundamental formulations. Then we'll jump to the Radiance Turmeric Mask, which is a skin brightening mask. We have a firming mask, and we have a mother and child mask. You know that children like to mimic their mothers and follow their mothers and apply the lipstick and all the cosmetic that the mothers are using. When the mother applies a mask over her face and the children see it, it is very possible that they want to do the same thing. So we prepared a very, very simple, no BS, safe mask that it is safe for children above the age of 3 years, so that mother and child can apply the mask together and have some fun together. Just think about this concept in your sales copy. This will sell like freshly baked bread. In week 3, we have a carotenoid mask, we have a chocolate mask, and a honey mask. And you know how difficult honey is in application in cosmetics. This is a safe and stability tested product that is amazing. In week 4, we have a recharge mask, a purifying charcoal mask, and a spirulina mask. The same is here for spirulina. It is rather difficult to stabilize in formulations and in water containing formulations. First, it is very fast contaminated. Second, it loses its brilliant color. And in these self-preserving formulations with low water activity, it remains safe and stable, and the color remains stable. In week 5, we have an aloe mask, a calming gatrocola mask, and a sebo-regulative prebiotic mask. As the weeks proceed, we proceed from simpler formulations to slightly more tricky from a formulation technical point of view. So the masks are getting slightly more difficult, but all of these formulations are made with the 2 frame formulations that we give you in the first module and during the first week. And in week 6, we have 1 hyaluron mask and a live Q&A to answer all of the questions that come to your mind as you are proceeding with this program. As I mentioned, if you don't want to proceed with us, you still have access to the course material, and I recommend that you participate in these live Q&As, even if you have not progressed too much, so that you learn from the questions of others. But you can proceed at your own pace, and you will have access to the Facebook group, so you can ask your questions even after the program is officially finished. The program is €497, but if you enroll right now till Friday, October 28th, midnight, Berlin time, we have an early bird discount, and you can get the program for $397. We have an additional 20% discount for our members. So close on November 6th, and the early bird is valid till October 28th. If you want to enroll after October 28th, you have to pay the full price, which is $497. So I'm going to see you on November 8th. If you have any questions, just don't hesitate to send us a mail and ask your questions. Once again, the link for enrollment is greencosmetic.science/enroll. Looking forward to seeing all of you on November 8th.